Blame Truth here, and Activision is in complete and utter panic mode. The desperation, I've never seen it this bad, and this goes to show how down bad they actually are. Now, in this video, we're going to go over some pretty harrowing evidence, some pretty conclusive evidence to get to the point I want to make and to kind of prove my theory correct here. You guys can be the judge with this, but I just want to say that if you read between the lines, Activision is scared fucking shitless right now. They have put all of their eggs into one basket, and that one basket is a fucking Warzone map from the year 2019. Guess what, viewer? It's gonna fail. It's gonna fail because it's banking on nostalgia and it's not fixing the core issues of this dying, putrid AI slop, no talent hack development team franchise. Can I get an amen when I say this is the demise of the franchise, boys? It's the demise of the franchise. Now, this is going to go back to that stupid podcast that Tom Henderson did with the creator of SBMM. Now, I want to kind of just ask you guys, is it not a bit weird that Tom Henderson would get this guy on the podcast randomly and do an article with him randomly? Like, how did this whole thing actually happen? I'm going to say something bold that can't really be proven, but that I have covered a little bit in the past. You see, Tom Henderson wrote several hit pieces about the video game XDefiant, the game you see on the screen here. It wasn't marketed very well, the game I mean, because a lot of people still ask me, what game am I playing in the background? It's XDefiant, and it's shutting down for good in like 3 months because Ubisoft sucks ass and put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket was like Assassin's Creed Shadows and a shitty pirate game that like 1,000 people bought. So there's that. But he was writing a bunch of hit pieces on XDefiant about how the game only had until Season 4 and then it would be canned. And then he wrote something else about it, and then the devs had to come out and clarify, like, hey, this is not true. What is true about XDefiant is that Ubisoft pulled the plug on the game without a plan to do so. They pulled the plug very, very prematurely before Season 3, the biggest season yet with Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. They pulled the plug before that even, and then right after these dumb French idiots pulled the plug, unfortunately, Black Ops 6 and Warzone saw record low numbers. It's almost like if they waited, I don't know, 3 or 4 more months, things would have been different. But regardless, Tom Henderson took the credit for like predicting this. The fact of the matter is, though, is that all of his predictions were pretty much deemed false, proven false. And it was just by dumb luck that the game got canned, but it got canned way before he said, it would, because Ubisoft sucks. They are hemorrhaging money, and they cut their losses right before the end of the year as like a tax write-off, essentially, or something akin to that, basically. I bring this up because I actually made some videos about this, about Activision potentially like doing some shady stuff under the table about the only competition they've had in years. And what I mean by that is maybe someone was paid off to spread some rumors or whatever about XDefiant. Maybe Activision changed the title from Black Ops Gulf War to Black Ops 6 and then released the trailer for that like a few days after XDefiant announced it was coming out or whatever. It just came out. I can't remember which one it was. I think it had just come out, though. If you guys don't think they are capable of like this scumbag behavior, they are. So there's no way to prove it. It's just a theory. It honestly checks out with their track record. But anyway, I bring all of this up because him getting this SBMM guy on this podcast and then no one correcting him anytime he spouts bullshit is incredibly fishy to me. It's almost like Activision sent this guy to kind of smooth over things and build trust with the community again, but not like, from Activision themselves. Does that make sense? Maybe that's just a gigantic conspiracy theory, but the fact that this guy lied to our faces about old Call of Duties not showing player counts and not showing player retention data is just, it's a slap in the face. And if you go to the likes and dislikes of this podcast, I mean, it's about 50-50. Like, people are not buying the bullshit this guy is spewing out. I mean, the comment section's the same way. They're constantly pointing out things he's wrong on or he's lying about or whatever. Again, it just seems set up to me. It just doesn't seem organic. This whole thing is weird. Why is this guy even talking about it? Wouldn't they be under NDA about this matchmaking system? Like, how can he actually speak on it? These are questions we need to genuinely ask, and if we don't get the answers to them, then what the hell's going on? I'm going to go with my personal theory that this seems like a dude that's like a plant from Activision sent to this podcast to help build trust with the brand again or something. Again, might be crazy talk, but it's on brand for these scumbag, lying, deceitful motherfuckers. And if you think the whole player count thing is the only thing he lied about or is wrong about, we're going to cover today's sponsor, and then I'm going to show you another clip from this podcast that a buddy of mine sent me specifically, because I'm not watching the whole thing. And I just want to go over what he says because it is insanity. It is complete and utter malarkey. Today's video is sponsored by Once Human. It is a horror-themed Genshin Impact where you can lose yourself in mobile and PC platforms. In fact, the mobile version is launching very, very soon. It is right around the corner on April 23rd, and it is not pay to win. Free to play, but not pay to win. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, and the mobile version will be just like the PC version. So much so that you can enjoy cross-play. From February 28th until March 30th, you can visit oncehuman.game to access the mobile test package. You can log in with your PC account and be good to go. Yes, I said it. You can log in with your PC account. No need to create a new account. You can have the full experience whether you're playing mobile or PC on the same server. And there are exclusive rewards right now for PC players. You can jump in and start playing Once Human on Steam, seamlessly connecting with the mobile version and getting special rewards along the way. Once Human has so many monsters, each monster has a backstory, so the lore is deep and interesting. With the survival mechanics, you can craft food, tools, and weapons. You can also build bases and facilities to thrive in this post-apocalyptic world. Once Human is completely open world and has everything you could ask for a horror-themed post-apocalyptic survival game. So guys, again, the mobile version is coming in April on the 23rd. No pay-to-win, guaranteed. Pre-register now to enter the lucky draw with my link in the pinned comment or video description.
You'll be punished. You'll have some punishing lobbies, and you'll go off and you'll come back. You do whatever. But there's always somewhere. It just seems so crazy. Like, I'll go in, and I'm not tooting my own horn or anything. Maybe it's because, like you say, the volatility. I'll get like a 3-4 KD. And I'll just be cleaning up, and I'll just be on every objective, and we'll win by a landslide. And it's like, you question when you get the really tough lobbies, and you're like, okay, that's one story or whatever. But it's like, I almost like, why is it allowing me to suddenly have such an incredible game? And it goes back to the psychology thing where people say it's trying to keep you playing for longer. So it's like, here, have a good game, play some more. I don't know if that's an actual thing. I believe it might be when you talk about retention, but
that is part of it. That is part of it, but yeah, I know we're kind of skipping over the Tom's initial question a while ago, but we'll come back to the smurfing or the sandbagging effect. But the to jump to the engagement optimized, even conspiracy theories where people think oh yeah, it's taking in all this data about you and then figuring out exactly what it needs to retain you. As far as I know and as far as I can tell, they're still not doing that. The matchmaking paper that they published has nothing about that in there, and I would take that at their word. They have no reason to lie about it. They have no reason to lie about it.
They have no reason to to lie about it.
So wait just a second. Let me go over this piece by piece here, okay? Because I got a lot I want to get off my chest about this here. The first thing he says is that that's part of it, in reference to the other guy asking about how, like, sometimes he gets these blowout games, sometimes he gets stomped. It feels manipulated. Is that something that keeps him playing? And he directly says, the creator of this system directly says, that's part of it. Maybe he misheard the question, I don't know, but he is all but like verifying that there's some sort of engagement metric being used. Then he goes on to say, not 1 minute later, that they are not using engagement optimized matchmaking. It's a conspiracy theory, and I'm currently doing air quotes so hard I might as well be a box fan with the amount of stray wind I am stirring up. I'm still doing it. I'm about to blow my motherfucking monitor clean over. Okay? Yeah, conspiracy theory. Literally like 15 seconds ago, he just confirmed this conspiracy theory. In fact, viewer, I have a little snippet from 2019 about Activision using machine learning to basically manipulate engagement. I mean, I've shared this before, but I forgot the video existed. So from 2019 on, I mean, this guy's been working on the games before that and after that. They had this presentation at AWS. I'm just going to show you a few clips from it, okay? From 2019. And this guy is saying that this system, this engagement manipulation system, is a conspiracy theory. Why don't you lick my giant balls while you watch this clip?
Good morning, everyone. I know you're here today to hear about how Call of Duty uses machine learning to personalize player engagement. And we're going to get into the details of that.
Now, how does it translate to Call of Duty? States for us is user attributes. So anything about engagement, revenue, preferred items, inventory, everything comes down to build your state.
Now, granted, this particular presentation is more about the storefront and how they like spam messages in your face and get you to click on things in the store to give them money, essentially. But I think it's safe to say that it's already in the fucking store, and a lot of patents they have too about engagement are already being used, like the whole buy a bundle via this kill cam package or whatever. I mean, it's just... I don't trust anything they do, and I don't trust anyone sticking up for them at this point. If you stick up for the Call of Duty franchise, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, but you probably deserve to be bullied. Like, you probably need to be shoved in a locker, and that's mean as hell. I get that, but, like, we're past the point of any niceties being had here. Let's get back to this podcast clip, though, okay? And then he goes on to say something that's worse than him egregiously lying or being misinformed or whatever, when he told us that Activision doesn't even have the player metrics and the retention data for the old Call of Duty games, when it showed us the player that data in the lower left-hand corner. I covered it in my last video. You can check that out if you'd like. I covered Black Ops 1, how the player data was there, front and center. We could see it, and it was millions of people at any given time, pretty much all year long. I mean, you know, this guy goes on to say, though, the most ridiculous thing ever. They have no reason to lie about it. Activision does not have a reason to lie about their matchmaking system. The same system. Let's just really go over this with a fine-tooth comb and expose these frauds. The fact that the podcasters didn't call this out, I'm sorry, it's so suspicious to me. It's so fishy to me. Either these people are grossly misinformed to the point where they shouldn't be talking about the series at all, or it's some sort of fucking inside job under the table thing where they're getting paid to, try to get some goodwill back with the community as far as Call of Duty goes. Either way, I don't want to hear any of these people talking about the franchise because either they're being disingenuous or they don't know what they're talking about. And again, both are offensive to my sweet little eardrums, okay? So let's just break this down. Let's really break this down. This matchmaking system, the skill-based matchmaking system, no one could talk about it. Devs could not talk about it. No Activision PRs could talk about it. It was kept under wraps for 5 years. I'm not sure if like this is some sort of revisionist history they're trying to pull, but like literally for 5 years, you even mentioned skill-based matchmaking as a player to a dev, they just would go silent, man. They would turn into a mime. They would start pulling an invisible rope, putting on clown makeup, and riding a unicycle. You couldn't get them to talk about it. And I deduced, and I think this is a very reasonable deduction, but I deduced that they were most likely under NDA and could not talk about this system. I mean, every other dev and every other game studio under the sun talked about their matchmaking system openly without us having to break their arm about it. Dead by Daylight was going to implement skill-based matchmaking a couple years ago, and it did, and it's still there, but they openly made a tweet about it, how they're going to put it in the game. So many devs would openly talk about how their matchmaking system worked, and yet Call of Duty Activision did not. If it were just SBMM, why wouldn't they talk about it? It took us 5 years of hijacking. We literally hijacked their Reddit AMA. We hijacked Sledgehammer's Reddit AMA for Modern Warfare 3 to finally get some talk about skill-based matchmaking. And even then, they couldn't be genuine with it. They couldn't be honest about it with us. Like, it took us 5 years to get the truth out of them after radio silence. I mean, if that's not lying, it's gaslighting, which is just as bad. I've told you a million times, guys, this system is not there to create fair matches. It's not there to increase player retention. It's there to gaslight and lie to players to make stupid motherfuckers who can barely move their thumbstick think they are optic scump and protect them so they spend money in the store. If that's not engagement optimized matchmaking, I don't really know what is. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Let me calm down and get back to the point here, though. And yet, they have no reason to lie about it. In the white paper, within the first paragraph or two, they lie about it instantly. And we've done tests. People have done tests about this system and determined that what they're saying in this blog post isn't necessarily true. Ping is not king. Ping has never been king, at least not in the 2019 Warzone era of Call of Duty. It's just, I mean, most of the stuff in that white paper is complete and utter bullshit. Their testing is also flawed because they're testing to get a specific result. Literally everything they do is shady to the point where, you can't even trust the player numbers, because the player numbers, I mean, we also found this out, especially on the Steam platform. I'm not sure if it translates to other platforms or not. It probably does, but we found out that for whatever reason, and I made a video on this as well, I'll link it at the end of this one in the random video section if you want to check it out, but we found out that when you close the game on Steam, at least when I tested this, the game wouldn't close. And then you'd have to go and hard shut it down from Steam, and then that still wouldn't close, and stuff would be running in the background. And I bring this up because the first part of it is it's still counting you playing it on Steam, which falsely inflates the numbers, which comes across insanely illegal in my personal opinion, because they're constantly touting player numbers to shareholders and whatnot, play time to shareholders and whatnot. So whether it's intentional or not, the numbers on Steam are flawed, and they're lower than what they actually are showing, which is mind-boggling to think about. But then when you close the game out, on Steam, and you right-click, close out the game, and you make sure it's off and not counting towards the Steam numbers, there are still little Call of Duty tidbits running in the background. You could see them in the task manager. there's just some shady, weird stuff going on in general. But I can count on all my fingers and toes just in the last 5 years how many times Activision has directly lied to us. Remember the erroneous visual blood effects when people were saying, hey, the hit detection and the hit reg is either rigged or incredibly broken. Which is it? And then they say, oh, it's neither. It's erroneous visual blood effects. These fucking clowns really do think we are idiots. But let's take it a step further. Let's cover the most recent example of them lying through their teeth. They made AI slop art to clickbait you. Literally clickbait you into like checking out a game that doesn't exist, and they do that to harvest your precious data. They love their data at Activision, especially when they can skew it to their own twisted, disgusting narratives. These people are narcissistic assholes. I have been saying it for years, and I'm glad people are finally starting to wake up. But there are still people out there defending this billion-dollar company that wouldn't piss on them if they were burning alive. They have no reason to lie about it, though. Coming from the guy who immediately lied to my face up on starting this podcast. I'm sorry. This whole thing just reeks of desperation. This reeks of a plant being brought in to try and save and harbor some goodwill with the community. Like, why is this guy, like, seriously, I just want to know, why is he on this podcast? Why is he talking about it? Why is it only him? Why is he bullshitting us? Why does he not seem to really know what he's talking about? You know what I mean? Like, where did this come from? Why is this thing dropping out of the blue? And why are the other two people on the podcast not correcting this guy when he's clearly wrong? Again, I just want to say, either they're not true fans of the series and they don't know what they're talking about, or they're lying, or they're getting paid under the table. I genuinely don't know, but the whole thing screams desperation. And going back to that whole fake game thing to harvest your data, this shows clear desperation, and they're doing it with AI slop art, which no one likes, by the way. Now, I'll put this snippet of an article up just to show you some of the comments and show you some of the stuff. In fact, I'm just going to read it here. Let me just read this about this AI art slop they pulled on us, okay? In the comments, fans are furious. Shows how much effort went into this when you can't even get your own game right, reads one response. Another calls the ad lazy AI slop, while another reads, you'd think a giant company like Activision would have some budget for a real graphic designer. A fourth says, wow, it appears they're still using Midjourney 1.0. I haven't seen AI art this bad since the early days. But this isn't where the weird generative AI ad ends. As a few websites such as Time Extension and 80.lv have pointed out, Activision appears to have quietly dropped a number of generative AI created ads on Instagram for a smattering of games that haven't otherwise been announced by the company. These include a Call of Duty Zombies mobile game, something called Call of Duty Sniper, and something else called Crash Bandicoot Brawl. At the time of writing this, none of these ads are viewable publicly on Activision's official Instagram, but the Guitar Hero mobile ad is still available via direct link. Where this gets even weirder is that fans have managed to find a page for Guitar Hero Mobile on a website called Geek Lab, complete with even more AI imagery. Geek Lab is a user acquisition and insight company that allows publishers to create lookalike store pages for mobile games in order to test user interest. Clicking Get on the Guitar Hero Mobile page takes users to a survey that claims this isn't a real game, but could be someday, and asks them a number of questions about why they clicked on the ad and how likely they would be to play something like Guitar Hero Mobile. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Bait and switching your user base and then trying to delete the evidence. And this has been covered by various news channels, by the way. This channel says Activision gets caught out, deletes evidence. And as you can see here, like, it's just a way to harvest your data by clickbaiting you. And in the comment section of this video, I want you to really think about how they said They don't have a reason to lie about it. I was working at Activision during the Infinity Ward crisis as a tester for Tony Hawk and Guitar Hero. I shit you not, they laid the entire QA team off and said, "We don't have any more games in the pipeline. Good luck." As we were walking out, we see the training room doors open with a whole new group of testers coming in. Yeah, BS. Years later, I find out about this incident and it all makes sense. They didn't lay us off because there were no more games. They laid us off because they didn't want anyone loyal to Infinity Ward to sabotage their future games, so they rebuilt their testing teams from the ground up. Fuck Activision, never bought a game of theirs since, and stopped supporting Blizzard as well. Again here, this all reeks of desperation. This all seems like they are panicking their ass off. I mean, they're down so bad, they posted a video about Verdansk, hyping it up, okay? 2 days ago it came out, and at the time of the screenshot, it had 11K views, which is not very good. It's got this guy, the Spud Dud Legion. Never heard of him in my life. Don't know who he is. Sorry if that's offensive. This guy might be a nice guy. I don't know, but he's working with Activision, so he kind of deserves this. But I don't know, it's just some off-brand Tim the Tap Man. And he's talking about the game, and it's got like 617 likes, 368 dislikes. I'm one of those. But like, nobody is buying this stuff. I mean, on the official Verdansk trailer, every top comment, and we covered this in a previous video, every top comment is saying like, hey, the map's not enough. We don't just want the map. I mean, they're screaming what they want. Free data, not having to like, be clickbaited out and harvested out through nefarious means. Free data! The data is right there, Activision, right in front of your face, and you won't use it. Like, what is this company? Like, genuinely, the people that run Activision Blizzard are sick in the head or something. I mean, I've showed this before. I'm gonna show it again. Do you honestly think this is normal? This piece of information right here, this news article clipping I'm showing you, it's genuine, by the way. Do you honestly think this is normal at all? It's a bit racist, isn't it? It's a bit culty, isn't it? It's a bit weird. These people are down so bad, and the player counts. I mean, I keep covering the player counts on Steam, and a bunch of false info keeps getting spread around. Guys, we did the math here, okay? The player count for Call of Duty and Warzone leaked a couple years ago. It was about 604,000 players, something like that. At the time of that leak, Steam represented a little over 100,000 concurrent players at the time. We did some basic division and found out that Steam represents about 18% of the player base at that time. Considering Steam has done nothing but grow and Call of Duty sold 60% more than last year's title, Modern Warfare 3, on Steam as far as Black Ops 6 sales go, then I don't think it's a stretch to say that Steam's probably about 20% of the player base. I mean, it's pretty basic math, and yet people still say Steam's like the smallest percentage. Like, this isn't fucking 2010, guys. It's 2025. Steam is the biggest gaming platform out there ever. PC keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. Consoles are stagnant. In some cases, Xbox hardware sales are down year over year. I mean, I don't know what to say other than you are coping so hard. You may as well be hitting John Moxley in the back with a spiked bat. Activision is incredibly desperate, and it remains to be seen after Verdansk fails, because it most definitely will. It remains to be seen how desperate they are going to get. It would not surprise me if they email me a cash offer or something to speak kindly of the game or something like that. And I am not kidding. It would honestly not surprise me if they tried to pay off content creators who impact them negatively going down the line. I think we're at that point. I really, really do. But guys, I just wanted to bring you this video and kind of document what's going on. This podcast, I mean, it's long, it's boring, and it's full of bullshit, but at the same time, I might keep flipping through it and just seeing what other ridiculous stuff I can find. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, do me a favor, do me a solid, drop a like rating. That'll put this video in the algorithm and help other people find it. You can subscribe if you want. We're closing in on 500,000 subscribers. I don't tell people to subscribe really because I really don't care, honestly. But go ahead and do it. You might as well. And then maybe one day we'll get like 1 million and I can get a gold play button and then sell that gold play button on eBay. I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But anyway, the point is that the video is over, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, drop a comment below. And Call of Duty sucks. Verdansk is gonna fail. I want to nail Phil Spencer to the fucking cross.